Okay.
I'll fill you back in, don't worry.
So thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's try that again. Hello, everybody. I'm Victoria Shepherd, the founder of Happy Henry's Grooming and Training. And I'm a consent-based holistic groomer looking at the whole dog and also giving our dogs choices and the ability to put up their paw and opt out if they're uncomfortable with something. I work with guardians and dogs to help create a new picture around grooming, whether because they've had prior trauma, they've been fired from previous groomers. But the goal is to make them ideally really happy about the progress. But most of the times it's getting them to be comfortable with the process and know that there will be a good outcome at the end of it. But today, we're not talking about me. I like in my private members group, I like to get in trusted pet professionals that I know every so often and share the love with people out there. And this week, I am going to be chatting with Rebecca Hanlon. And I know Rebecca from when I was studying at Dog Genius, and she is an amazing person. I think she can actually talk more than me.
Oh, give me a chance. Get me on the right subject.
So I am going to hand it over to Rebecca to introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her background, what she does. Then we'll start talking about gut health, which is the main subject of this conversation. However, just to warn participants, we often go off at tangents. Brains going everywhere. So it might just become a complete comedy hour. But hopefully you'll have fun. So go ahead, Rebecca Hanlon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Victoria. So yeah, I'm Rebecca Hanlon, also known as the Dog Witch. So that's kind of my business. I am a behaviorist, specializing mostly in resource guarding, which funny enough actually does link with the gut quite a lot. A lot of resource guarders have gut issues, and other aggressive like behaviors like reaction, and then gut health. So I have also got an online platform that is called and I don't know how that happened.
I'll tell you how it happened. I'll tell you how it happened. My bad. There was noise on the line, and I thought I'll check to see which participants are not
You
muted.
muted me, Victoria.
I literally just saw
I just like, we've had enough already. We've had enough.
I was like, she's out of here. No, I'm sorry. Back to you now, Rebecca.
So yeah, I also run an online platform called the Canine Wellness Circle, which is a collaborative space for both guardians and professionals where we support dogs with, and this is Matilda. She's in season at the moment, bless her. So she needs a lot of TLC at the moment.
Who's that? I didn't see the little guy at the back there.
Oh, that's Harry at the back. Yeah, that's Harry and that's Matilda. Hopefully you won't start trying to hump her. It's quite a calm moment at the minute, but yeah, he does get excited because she is in season. So yeah, I really wanted to create a space. I come from a mental health background with people originally, and we worked very much collaboratively with rehabilitation with people. And I found when I came into the dog industry, that was very lacking. So for me, I'm really passionate about bringing different professionals together, a bit like Victoria is as well, and working from a very holistic side, because I think, you know, quite often if you're a trainer, you work as a trainer. If you're a behaviorist, you work as a behaviorist. If you're a vet, you work as a vet. Groomers work as groomers. And actually, we should all be working together. So the online platform is £10 a month. I'm sure we can share a link or whatever later.
Absolutely, yes.
And
sorry.
And yeah, we have loads of lives where I have people like Victoria on, so similar to what Victoria is doing now. So we have lots of different people. We have a vet on once a month. And I also have a library that's sort of packed with lots of information. So that's kind of what I do. I also work in a pet shop, which I absolutely love, with West Country Pets. And Dan, who runs West Country Pets, is just so passionate about all of this as well, and sort of holistic health. So there is a conference in the pipeline as well between us. So yeah, I like a lot of collaboration, and obviously gut nutrition is a very, very big passion of mine. Has been for a long time, but at the moment I'm very lucky to be working with studying under Caroline Griffith, who is she does the Natural Dog Expo, and she's our leading person in all things gut health. Very
I
impressive.
was listening to, I'm partway through it, that webinar in the circle, which, I mean, I highly recommend, there's even just, oh my God, my dogs are kicking off in the
Oh,
background.
you can't hear that either.
Okay, good. It's just the joys of it. But yeah, it's, there are so many interviews already in there. And I'm down for one of them at one point,
Yeah,
but
you can soon.
yeah, it's well worth it, and for such good value. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's it, really.
that's it.
Well,
Hold on. No, did you mention that you're a tutor as well?
oh, I am a tutor for the Dog Genius as well. Yeah, God, Teresa would kill me, wouldn't she? Yes, I tutor other behaviourists and trainers with the Dog Genius Institute, and we are one of the only. I think there's only 2 in the country now, but we basically go up to what is accepted as degree level, so you can join the APDT. Yeah.
There you go, Teresa. She's plugged you.
I know. She'd kill me, wouldn't she? She'd kill me. And I get all the acronyms wrong.
Yeah, I just go that one.
Dreadful. Yeah.
So you had mentioned, first of all, you had lived in Spain for a long time, didn't you?
I did. I lived in Spain. Well, 4 years. We came back a year ago.
And that's where your Podencos came from, right?
Yes. Yeah, they were. Well, Harry did come from Spain, but we were actually Harry at the back. He's 11. And so we were living in the UK when we adopted Harry. But the other 2, yes, we adopted whilst we were in Spain. So Matilda is 2.5. No, she's 2, and Dustin's 2.5. It's slightly nutty in our house. two teenage dogs.
So you mentioned how gut health can affect behavior earlier on in your introduction, and I've found I'm going through. I have a toy poodle, a very gobby one called Stanley, and then I have a large 40-kilo. I don't know. He's a bit of a numbnut, worried about the world. But both of them have had struggles with reactivity. And and they also have gut problems. So this was one of the reasons why I'm really excited to talk to you. Trick is, invite people to come and talk to you who can answer your problems as well during the
Well,
interview.
I'm not promising that, but
Shamelessly admitting it. But Stanley has a lot of pain that we found out. And resource guarding, that was it. When his stomach is upset, or when Henry's stomach is upset, for whatever reason, both of them resource guard more. And that's a whole ball of wax that I find very fascinating. I'm learning a lot. So, if anyone has any questions, by the way, you feel
yeah,
free to put them into the chat. And if you want to come in and talk, you can do that too. You might not get a word in edgeways, but you can try. So yeah, put it in the chat. If anyone has any questions, I do have a few from a very wonderful client. But one thing I was talking to her about earlier, and she didn't put it on here, but I mentioned it to you earlier, so I thought that it was a great question, was when we are looking at potential allergies of dogs, skin allergies or food allergies, and I'm finding the grooming arena, doodles are a nightmare for
Yeah, it's a lot of
for
allergies.
for for allergies or skin problems.
Yeah.
But before we talk about those specific dogs, and I don't know if you know anything about those, but at what point, if your dog scratches, what are the reasons that they could be scratching? And at what point do we say that's not normal?
Okay, so I think one of the most important thing is for people to understand that there is a big difference between allergies and intolerances. And I think quite often we talk about allergies and we're not actually talking about allergies, we're talking about intolerances. So allergies are when, you know, we have my mum has an allergy to eggs. If she eats a bit of egg, she could die. You know, her
Hmm.
face swells up, you know, she becomes violently sick, and I can imagine if she's never gone into anaphylactic shock, but I think if she ate too much that she possibly would go into anaphylactic shock. So we're looking more, allergies are a much bigger response, you know, but a lot of dogs that we're working with, I would say it's more intolerances that we tend to, there is a more scientific sort of explanation. Connor Brady's very good. I think he's got something on his site actually that kind of shows the difference between the two. But yeah, so scratching's a really interesting behavior because dogs scratch for so many different reasons. So yes, obviously dogs will scratch if they've got an itch. And it's quite normal for them to have, you know, random itches like us. I sit here. I also tend to find that if I'm a bit nervous or a bit anxious about something, I will start picking or scratching things. I'm a bit like that. Dogs can do that as well. They can definitely scratch due to feeling nervous. And they do it as a displacement behavior. So anyone that kind of, you know, looks at, I always think of displacement behaviors a bit like when you go into a waiting room, or if you go into a pub or something and you're waiting for someone and you're feeling really nervous about it, or you feel uncomfortable, you'll quite often get your phone out, or you'll do, and it's not about looking at the phone, it's about redirecting people's gaze to you, you know, feeling a bit more comfortable. And dogs do this a lot. They will pretend to sniff, they might scratch. So there's lots of reasons dogs will scratch, and it's a totally natural, normal behavior as well. I think intensity and frequency is probably the things that I would look for the most. Is how intense are they scratching? You know, do they seem really uncomfortable? Displacement you tend to find is short and sweet. And then they might redo it again, but it's sort of short bits. Whereas I think when they're irritated, you can start seeing it's, you know, the frequency and intensity is quite big. So yeah, I hope that helps. Have we got some questions coming in? Your speaker's off, lovely.
Sorry. It's good
And
to
I didn't do it.
No, it was me because the dogs are making such a racket that I
You
didn't want to
can't hear
upset
I
everyone.
really love it that usually on Zoom you usually can't hear background noise. So don't worry too much, guys. If you there's certain noises that I think are close to the
No,
mic.
my neighbors might
Well, they might, yeah.
might not love it so much. But yeah, so we've had a couple. And I've got one here. What are the top, this one is from Nicola. What are the top 3 signs that you need to change the diet to improve gut health?
That's a good question. Okay, so poo. I mean, I shouldn't be called the dog witch. I should be called the poo witch. I talk about poo a lot in my job. I get lots of pictures of poo. So you should be looking at really sort of 1 or 2 poos a day. Some dogs are a 3 pooer, but you know, I'd question, they shouldn't really. A couple of poos. If they're starting to poo more than that, then they're actually trying to get a lot of more waste from their body. They should. I saw something fly in the background. So I'll carry on, Victoria, while you, yeah, it's fine. So yeah, poos you should be looking for nice, smooth, sausage-like shapes. You should be able to really pick a dog's poo up without it sort of getting all over your hands. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but so there shouldn't be too much residue on it. It should be nice and firm. So if we're starting to see sort of small pellety poos all the time, then that's more constipation, so that the diet's not working great for them there. If we're getting sloppy poos, I find a lot of dogs do great poos first and then they get worse, so we're looking at kind of irritable bowels quite often if they're getting worse as the day goes on. So poo's your number one sign without a doubt. And then I'd say sort of coat and skin health. I think looking at coat, so are we getting dandruff? Have we got a nice shiny coat? Does the coat feel smooth? Obviously it depends on the breed. If we've got a Lakeland Terrier, they're not going to feel nice and soft, but if you've got a Lakeland Terrier that's on a really good diet and a very healthy gut and one that hasn't, you will still tell the difference. You'll still see a sheen to their coat, and it will feel softer as well. And looking at their skin as well, that there's not too many, it's not too flaky, and it's not to panic. I mean, my dog's had a bout of dandruff recently, and actually that was the change in the weather. As soon as the weather changed again, they were fine again, and I'm there panicking because I'm a panicker with stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, I need to change their food. And I mean, as you can imagine, because I'm obsessed with food, my dogs, it's like they go to a Michelin star restaurant every day, so I really shouldn't worry, but I still worry. So yeah, I would say that. And then possibly, I mean, obviously sickness. So obviously the obvious things, if your dog's being sick a lot, we do get a lot of dogs that get what I would call hunger sickness. So they're not very good at going through long periods of time before they need food, which kind of suggests there is possibly something wrong, but it's not usually something to overly worry about. So they're more biliary kind of sicks, but again, you don't want that to be happening often. And even teeth health, if a dog's on a good diet and their gut's healthy, their teeth are usually healthy. Or healthier, because the gut and the mouth are linked, totally linked. They're and we forget how linked they are. So if there's bad stuff going on in the gut, it's going to affect the teeth basically. So yeah, you want to be looking for pretty healthy teeth, a good coat, no sickness or very few. Dogs eat disgusting things and occasionally can be sick, but you don't want a sicky dog. And poos, they would be my top things to kind of look at, really. I hope that's helped. Was that from Nicola?
Poo. Lovely poo. Yes, so running on to that, you mentioned sickness and things. Now Karen has asked, itchy ears, what would you advise? She's tried raw food, he loved it, but when he got excited he would be sick. She's now using cold pressed food and not being sick, but still itchy ears and licking one paw. Is this now a habit?
It's unlikely to be a habit. Did he because it sounds like possibly, did his ears stop being itchy when he was on raw?
Karen, if you want to open up
I
and
don't bite, honestly, guys. You can come and talk to me.
let me, if you want, I can open up your mic. You don't have to come on camera. Oh, there she is. I'm going to open up.
I know. And I've got two Jack Russells and a Dachshund here, so we'll wait and see what happens. But
oh, don't worry about that. We're used to.
Yeah. So we did. I got allergy testing done, just the hair testing, and he was allergic to basically everything. Like they put him on turkey at first, but he was allergic to that. So he was only okay with chicken. He's allergic to turmeric. It's just mad, like the stuff that he's allergic to. So I've really tried to kind of keep everything quite plain for him. But the cold press, he seems to be digesting. But I don't know if you've heard of the Biome 9. So I did the Biome 9, sent it to them, and they came back and gave us nutrients and things like that to try. and when it came back, it was as if he wasn't digesting his food.
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds more like a digestion problem than
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I think the thing is with things like cold pressed and that, however much they're still processed, you know,
Yeah.
and it's still not,
Yeah.
you know, so it's still going to be make it easier for the digestion, which is probably why he stopped being sick.
Okay.
The allergy testing is a nightmare because they're just not. So if you allergy tested a dog one day and then allergy tested them another day, you'd get two totally different results.
Okay.
They're not accurate. And I've had so many people come to me with these long reams from these tests. And then when we've broken it down and started to look at things just individually, they're not allergic to half of the things that are on the list. And I'm not saying that they're not allergic to any, because quite often these dogs are dogs that are either have got allergies or intolerances to things. But they're, yeah, I mean, for me, a good elimination diet is kind of, with support, is the only way you can get to really to the bottom of these types of things. So with itchy ears, though, I would say quite often as well is a yeasty issue.
So, it's got that smell.
Yeah.
The kind of biscuity smell. That kind of
So Ray has just come out with, let me just quickly look it up because I can pop the link then in the chat. He's just come out with, which loads of people are raving about, a something for issues with yeasty stuff.
Oh yeah, I want to know about that.
Message, I'll put the thing in the
While
chat.
you're looking at that, for Karen, I've had some follow-on questions from Nicola for you to think about. So I'm just going to read through them so you can have time to look up the link that you're looking for.
Okay. Because I don't know how much I can do two things at once.
You focus on one thing at a time. I'm not asking you to do anything except look at that.
No, that's right.
I'll
read it out and I'll
okay. So Nicola said, please can you expand upon the link between gut health and resource guarding? Is the behavior driven by pain, dysbiosis, or something else? Now, that's a very clever woman there, because given that there is a known gut-brain connection in humans, I guess this could also be applicable to dogs. First of all, can someone tell me what dysbiosis means?
It's the stomach's not working properly. It's
okay. It's
another word, but yeah, it's not working. We get a lot of gut dysbiosis with the dogs that we're working with. So the link with gut brain, I've just found Connor's thing. I will look in a minute because it might take me a bit. I'll focus on.
We can also add them afterwards and send them out to everybody, and we can put them in.
Is everybody here on your emailing list?
Not everybody, but if you signed up for the conference, because for the webinar, there will be a recording going out on this. And what I will do is anything that we've talked about, I will put notes in the post when I put the link to the recording. It's going to go up loaded up to YouTube eventually. So once I get the recording, I will load it up to YouTube, and then in the description, I will add resources notes. So we'll just gather them all together.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
So link. I'll come back to you in a minute, Karen, as well, because there's definitely more with the itchy ears. But so yeah, resource guarding and gut health. I actually started to specialize in it because I worked for about 4 years for a French bulldog rescue, doing a lot of their behavior cases, and there was a lot of resource guarding. So I got a lot of resource guarding cases for Frenchies, and I realized that actually, for one, I actually quite enjoyed working with resource guarding cases, which a lot of behaviorists don't, and for two, I was seeing a massive link with the cases having gut issues, which I didn't even think of because French bulldogs have quite often, as I'm sure many of you know, have a lot of issues quite often. So I wasn't really sort of seeing the link straight away. I mean, we're talking sort of nearly a decade ago now. And then as I carried on working and got different cases through, I definitely started to see a link. And then I basically decided, okay, I actually feel like everyone in this profession, we should kind of find our passion within it and then just get really, really good at that. Because I tend to find, you know, when I was first as a behaviorist, you know, I was having to do separation anxiety because everyone expects you to be able to do separation anxiety, reactivity cases towards dogs, into household aggression, resource guarding, you know, you name it. You're meant to know everything about it, and we don't. It's really difficult. It's a bit like going to your vet and expecting them to be a specialist in something. You know, it's they don't know. They're a GP, so they have to have a broad idea of what's going on, and they've also got loads of species, which makes their job so much more difficult. And then I also got sent Dustin. The universe decided to send me Dustin, and Dustin is a severe resource guarder and also has had horrendous gut issues. So the link between it, I don't think there's any studies on it. I don't think that there's anything that says, but from my experience, I would say that there are a number of factors. So I think resource guarding quite often is not actually about the resource. So we quite often think about resource guarding. You hear a lot about the dogs finding things highly valuable. And actually, quite often the dogs that I'm working with, it's nothing to do with the item at all. It's about the needing to control the environment that they're in. So them feeling out of control and them needing to control something to make themselves feel in control. It gives them that control. I tend to find that it's with dogs that have a genetic predisposition to guard. I mean, all dogs can guard. It's quite a normal, we guard, don't we? You know, if someone tried to take my cup of tea off me now, I'd be very upset. So, you know, it's very natural for us to protect things that are ours, but it's when it becomes extreme. So I think with the gut, I think there is, if we've got a dog that has an imbalance in the gut in some way, we're not going to be getting the right amount of hormones. I mean, everyone talks about serotonin, and serotonin is extremely important. I mean, we have 95% of the serotonin that we get is from the gut. I think 60% of that is directly correlated with what we eat. But you have all the other hormones as well. It's not just serotonin. You've got dopamine, and you've got all of these other, you know, your GABAs and all of these other hormones that have to be balanced. And if they're not, then we are going to see irregularities in moods. We're going to see mood fluctuations. We know now that there are links in people. We're now looking at autism, depression, anxiety, all linked with the gut. I have a mood disorder myself, which I'm very open about, because I think we need to be a lot more open about mental health in people and dogs. And my gut is definitely, if I, you know, I'm actually as passionate about what I eat as what my dogs eat. I'm quite healthy myself with, and I definitely notice a difference when I'm eating the right foods in my mood gets better. So I think there's a link with mood. Obviously pain. I mean, gut issues will cause pain. Dustin, funny enough, he used to eat items when he still will quite often. No, it's not often anymore, but it used to be a frequent thing. We'd lose a sock and we'd be like, okay, it's in Dustin's belly. So resource guarders will quite often swallow things and then they've got something in their gut. Now, again, are they swallowing things because of the resource guarding? Are they swallowing things because they feel uncomfortable in their gut? I can imagine there's so many different reasons for these things, but I honestly believe he used to resource guard his gut then. So he would, because he is touch sensitive anyway, but his behavior is different when he's touch sensitive to when he's guarding. And when he had swallowed something, I started to realize just from his behavior, I was like, okay, he's got a sock. He's actually resourcing guarding the sock in his stomach. So I think it's very multifaceted. It's not just the reason we see resource guarders and, you know, gut issues together. It's just this thing. I think there are just so many different factors to it. If they are naturally genetically, it's a bit like if you think of collies. You know, I tend to find if there are certain traits, and I try not to go too much into breed. I think we focus possibly too much into breed. At the same time, we know that there are traits that are within certain breeds, and I tend to find that certain breeds will go for certain traits if they are unregulated and struggling emotionally in some way. So if I've got a collie that's under stress and not coping, they often go to herding. You know, they'll go to chasing the car tire or trying to round up the kids. You know, Jack Russells sometimes digging, see lots of, you know, very, very repetitive digging, although they do that anyway, but when it's, you know, really over the top digging. So I think a lot of dogs do go to those traits. So I think if a dog has genetically predisposed to resource guarding, which some are, and I think this is why we possibly see it in a lot of cockapoos as well. I get a lot of cockapoos that resource guard and have gut issues. So yeah, I mean, research. I wish I had loads of money and someone would pay for a study.
I'll get right on that.
Thanks.
I mean, I have one client that is a huge resource guarder, and they were referred to me by a vet behaviorist, because at the end of the day, it's a dog that needs to be groomed. But there were a lot more signs that it was pain related as well. He's got a lot of gut issues, and we have to literally clip and clear the hair away as we do it. He can't have a water bowl down. We have to hand him have a saucepan that he can drink out of. It's been a real learning thing for me, working with their behaviorist on how do we manage it. And the more pain he's in, so we have to balance about.
Yeah, pain is definitely, I mean, I don't even mention pain. I mean, pain is, you know, it is going to exacerbate whatever behavior issue you've got, and the gut causes a lot of pain if it's not, you know, not always, but it can cause a lot of pain if there's issues with the gut.
And Henry, my guy, when he has an upset stomach, he uncontrollably will attack pillows, shred them all over the place. He doesn't ingest it, thankfully, but he can't not do it. He ingests it.
No, he doesn't ingest it, but Harry is a ripper. That's how he regulates. And to be honest, I've given up now. So we have what we call what do we call it? I'm very tired today, guys. I've had a very busy week, so I keep forgetting words. It's very bad. But yeah, we have two duvets on our bed, basically. So there's one duvet that he's allowed to rip, and the other one that he's not, which is my one, because, you know, we've gone through so many different things, and we've gone through so many different duvets. So yeah,
I go and buy the cheapest pillows now, right? I buy the cheapest pillows because I'm like, at some point he's going to have a moment that he literally can't disengage, and it's usually when he's got stomach. But we've been doing a lot of the zoopharmacognosy stuff with him, which has really helped, which is a whole other ball of wax. But
a bit of zoopharma too.
That was interesting. Now, before we go on to talking about other questions, do you want to go back to Karen?
Yeah, just so yeah, I mean, Karen, you've mentioned as well that he'd been on raw and not been able to digest it properly. So I again, I'm not saying that raw is the answer to everything, and I'm definitely not. I think that's the ultimate. I think it's the easiest. I think that's the biggest thing. It's the easiest. It's the healthiest diet that's, like, you know, like when we're talking natural food, that you can just chuck in the bowl. I tend to find with dogs that I work with, if they are not able to have raw, it is quite often because there is a digestion issue, or we've got an immunocompromised dog that is not able to cope with bacteria that they should be able to cope with. So I tend to go onto a cooked diet first. That's how and then I will slowly transition to a raw. And with any type of itching or allergies or intolerance, for me, it's a really good elimination diet. So finding a single protein that they're really good on, giving all of that protein. So looking at your bone and your liver and your kidney, which is quite difficult sometimes to get in. But you can usually, with your 80-10-10s, the only thing that I worry about with 80-10-10s, they're quite bone heavy. So dogs that struggle with digestion quite often struggle with 80-10-10s. and that can be quite often when they're sick. So that's again why I quite often will look at more like a cooked diet. So say, I mean, chicken's actually one of the most common allergies, but saying that, I've
I
got
know it's a weird one though, because he wasn't allergic to chicken.
no, I've got loads of dogs that are fine on chicken. I use chicken loads. It's cheap, it's gentle usually. So yeah, I mean, if chicken's fine. So yeah, I usually will start using chicken and then an eggshell powder to start with, so they're getting their bone content.
Okay.
Keeping
So
them
what's
off
that? Do you just buy an egg? Is that something you would just buy?
Just
Like,
on Amazon. I mean, if you've got a lovely pet shop that does it, then obviously support your local pet shop. But
yeah, no chance. No, it doesn't have.
saying that, we will hopefully West Country Pets. I think, well, we do online stuff. I don't know if we've got eggshell powder in, but it will be something we have in at some point.
Can you also ground
eggshells?
if you have eggs yourself? Can you
can,
give?
but you have to bake them first, and I'm all for
Right.
ease.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I spend a long time doing my dog's meals and that. Do I expect all my clients to? No. People have lives.
Well, that's one of the questions that I had was like, but before I open my mouth, because I don't want to get carried away again. Going on from that, Nicola actually did mention my dog is on a single protein chicken diet, but still not getting the ideal poo. Although much improved. 6 months have elapsed. What should I do next?
Try a different protein. So yeah, I would try, depends on what the poos are like. I mean, if the poos are absolutely fine for like days on end and then you get a bad one, then I'd say there's possibly other factors involved.
I think it's pretty, knowing the dog in question, it's quite a common thing. And because
proteins until you find one for an elimination, and I want to stipulate as well that we should not be just on one meat. Don't get me wrong, there are some dogs that can only be on one meat because they're allergic or intolerant to all others, but we'd prefer them to be on at least 4 or 5 different proteins rotated, because all different meats provide different nutrients and different minerals and values to our dog's diet.
And Nicola, I know because
Nicola's got her hand up, bless her.
I have a limited amount of, oh, there she is. I have a limited amount of I'm very familiar with the most common things to avoid and how to do it, but I am not an expert like yourself. But
I'm not an expert either, and I always want to stipulate that I'm not an expert. I'm very passionate about nutrition. I do have courses, but I am learning all the time. I'm still doing my IPET 3 at the moment. I want to, do. And when I do work on nutrition cases. But if there's any that are a bit too complex, I go up to Caroline. I send people to Caroline because, yeah, it's complex. Nutrition's really tough.
It is. So, but Nicola was originally doing several. We had, but then because Willow struggles with being touched, it literally is that she has to come to me to have everything removed. And so it can be a lot of struggle at times. So it's not a case of, oh, well, just wipe their bottom, because that's something that she struggles with. So it's a case of
what's the protein you've got on at the moment?
So chicken. So she has chicken kibble, but then I top it with baked chicken that I bake in the oven, and she has chicken treats.
So as soon as you say chicken kibble to me, you're not giving them just one food. You have a multitude of foods, and that's the problem. So the issue is with, and this is why so when vets prescribe dried foods for gut issues, firstly, it baffles me why they would, because I always say to people, if we went to the doctors and the doctors said to us, all of a sudden, we have come up with this amazing invention, we're going to get all of your fresh, lovely ingredients and we're going to cook them until an inch of their life and make them into little dried biscuits. And then because we've killed all the nutrients, we're going to put supplements on top of it to give the food the nutrients. Now, I'm not, you know, I sell dried food to my customers in the pet shop. It's not like I'm, you know, demonizing. We're all in different situations. If we've got a dog with issues, the only time that I've seen dried food possibly help is when it is a hydrolyzed diet from the vet. So that basically means that the proteins are broken down. So it's a lot easier for the dog to digest. The problem is, for short term, that's fine, but it's not dealing with the problem. It's not actually helping the dog to get healthier gut. So it's not helping all the other health issues that are going on.
Yeah.
So it just depends, Nicola, what situation you're in, really, and how you can. So I would very much, like we were talking before, I would try a cooked diet to start with. I love a lightly cooked diet, because if we've got dogs that are immunocompromised, if we're dealing with vets that are a bit iffy about raw, it kind of eliminates that. For me, yes, I think we get the best diet from a raw diet. I think they get more nutrients and things, but it's just not for everybody. And some dogs are going to be sensitive to start with. So I would start with just chicken. So we're
okay. That was going to be my question.
Just chicken. Because if he's semi-okay, if it's not that bad, then it could just be all of the other crap that's in the dried food, basically.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at a whole diet, we want to be looking at the whole of an animal, really. So we need bone, we need offal, we need muscle meat. So in a cooked diet, that's very difficult, and that's why raw diets are great, because you just, you know, it's all there. But in a cooked diet, we need to supplement the bone, which is not difficult. We can use eggshell powder. If they're intolerant to eggshell powder, you can get bone meal. I prefer eggshell powder, but you can get bone meal. Just Amazon, you can get it.
Yeah.
Not, you know, it's not difficult. It will give you the percentages and things as well. But we also need about 10% of offal. So we look at usually sort of 5% of liver and 5% of sort of kidneys and things. In chickens, it can be quite difficult, but I would just start with 5% liver if that's all you've got, and see how you go, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with both of your dogs, with itchy ears as well, Karen, I would start off with that and give their tummy time to rest. So as long as, I mean, if they're having diarrhea and that, obviously they're not good on chicken, but give them sort of 6 weeks on just that to let their tummy really settle. And then we get to start adding other foods. So then you could just go, right, okay, I'm going to give lamb a go this time, you know, and we just start with a teaspoon a day of that, and we kind of build on it.
So that was, I was here listening. That was one of my questions, because I don't like this cooking. You know what I mean? So my question, but I can throw a chicken in the oven and roast it. But don't we need to add in additional supplements, even if we've got an animal and we're adding it? So what supplements do we have to, because I know that my guys, as soon as I put any powders in their food, they're like,
yeah, I mean, it depends. There are loads of supplements you can go on. I mean, I don't really, again, this is a little bit like the allergies and the intolerance. So supplements and whole food add-ons are two very different things. So for me, I don't give my dogs supplements, but I do give them whole foods. Like they get kelp, they get salmon oil, but they're foods. They're just they get green-lipped mussel, you know. But if we're doing an elimination diet, those things, I wouldn't start with those things. I remember when I worked with Nick Thompson who's one of our lead kind of raw vets with Dustin. And I can remember him saying to me, you know, a dog is not going to die on not having a full diet for 6 weeks, you know? So yes, what we want is a rich diet. It's a bit like us. We want to eventually have lots of different ingredients to get that gut really working and really healthy. You know, they say with us, don't they, sort of 30 seeds, vegetables or whatever in our diet a week is what we should be aiming for.
Should we?
Yes.
Oh,
Aiming for 30, so that it covers your seeds, your nuts, your vegetables, your fruits. So you should be having 30 a week. So add them up, guys. Add them up.
wow.
It's not that hard. Herbs come into it. So add more herbs to your diet. You know, herbs are fantastic. Same with your dogs. Herbs are fantastic.
Oh, talking of herbs, I heard Caroline, and she was talking about if people want to, what sort of herbs can people have in their gardens, in pots, to let the dogs go and select if they want them? What would be your go-to herbs to grow?
Thyme and rosemary are great because they're nice and hardy. So if you've got dogs that like wrecking plants, they're brilliant, because they are nice and they're quite your tough ones. Saying that, they obviously are harder for dogs to digest. So again, there's another side of being a dog, that we have an amylase within our saliva that breaks down. So we're omnivores, so we're able to start breaking down vegetation as soon as we start chewing it and getting those juices going. Dogs can't. They don't have that type of amylase in their mouth, so it only starts happening once it's down in their gut. So they're not brilliant at breaking up vegetable matter. It's not something, you know, if we're giving them vegetable matter, we should be blitzing it or slow cooking it. If you're giving it to them raw, not saying it, I give my guys raw carrots because they like eating them and it's good for their, you know, it's a nice treat, but it's not, you know, it's not part of their nutrition. We need to break matter down for, and when I do my literature review, which I'll be doing at the end of this course, I'm probably going to be doing it on poo eating because I'm slightly obsessed with poo eating and why dogs poo eat. And I feel that, and I can remember again, I had a chat with Nick about this and he was like, oh, okay then. And then I heard him say it in a conference and I was like, yeah, I spoke to you about that. But the reason that dogs, I think, will quite often eat animal poo is because the animals have already broken down that vegetation for them. They're able to get nutrients out of that poo that they're not able to break down themselves because they are facultative carnivores. You know, they have carnivorous teeth and carnivorous salivary glands in their mouth and things, so they don't break down stuff. So that's why they like a bit of poo, I think.
If your dog is really fussy, like vegetables, fruit, none of this malarkey in this household, I think they get it from me, but what are some of the workarounds and the hacks for getting this stuff into our dogs if they either are very light eaters or very fussy eaters?
Are we talking just fussy with vegetables?
No, Stan is fussy in general, and it's generally, I'm finding that I've heard there is a poodle thing as well, that sometimes they can go. So I've started not stressing over it. Like, at what point should I worry that he's going to?
After 2 days, I think some dogs. So again, I think some dogs will. Fasting's really good for us. So I fast every day, about 16 hours. I fast. It's fantastic for the system. So, and it sounds really difficult, and actually it's not nearly as difficult as you'd think. If you just stop eating at like 7, 8 at night and then don't eat until lunchtime, you know, they used to always say about the breakfast, and actually
I'm all for the breakfast. So.
Yeah, well, we don't have to, but then you can. My mum does it in the opposite way, to be fair. So she loves her breakfast, so she stops eating, I think, you know, she has her last meal at 5 and then doesn't eat until sort of breakfast and gives herself. So it's looking at what suits you as an individual.
So if the dog doesn't eat frequently or a day, don't
fret.
Don't
fret.
I
mean, it can be a sign that there's something wrong with the, you know, I like to call them sensitive eaters. And Matilda is a sensitive eater. And I don't really know why she's a sensitive eater. She was tied to a tree for the first 7 months of her life. And we feel that we knew the lady that lived next door that ended up going in and rescuing her, basically. And she said she wasn't really fed. I mean, she was given pomegranates at one point. She just saw him go and chuck a load of pomegranates at her. I mean, you know, that was the, so I think just like kids, if dogs aren't brought up with a very diverse diet, then it can make them more selective and not adventurous with their food, exactly the same as what humans are. My goddaughter's staying with us at the moment. She's 16. And she says, oh, I always remember you taking me to posh restaurants, even when I was like 4, to eat like really weird foods. And I did, because her mum's not that foodie. And I was like, yeah, because I wanted you to experience different foods. She'll eat anything. She's happy with anything. And I honestly think it is because she was surrounded by lots of different food. And I never forced her to eat anything, but I offered her lots of things. It's the same with dogs, you know, if they're brought up like that,
Yeah.
that can be one reason. Dogs are not silly, and if they've got intolerances and we're giving them foods that they are naturally saying they're not making me feel very good, then they may be refusing to eat it. I do get some fussy eaters that are on dried foods, and then as soon as we put them on a fresh diet, surprise, surprise, they're not a fussy eater anymore. So again, you know, it depends on the individual dog. I think there was probably trauma with Matilda around food. I think she was probably hit around food, probably chucked at, bowls chucked at. She looks very scared whenever she eats. It's horrible to watch. So there's lots of different reasons, I think. And yeah, I think it's trying lots of different things. With the vegetable side of it, you know, vegetables are not, I add lots of vegetables to my dog's diet. I do find that some dogs do need a lot of fiber, I think more than others. This is a bit of a, people differ in their opinion on this in the dog sort of nutrition world. I do feel that dogs have evolved to a degree of I mean, you know, they're scavengers. I mean, they've been around us and been eating table scraps and God knows what for years. And I do think that they do, my study will involve looking at other carnivores and how much poo they eat. There might be stuff already out there, and it will be a literature review, so it'll be looking at stuff that's already been done, not doing studies myself. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, if they do go for poo because they need certain types of fiber and vegetation. If you're feeding a raw diet and you're feeding a whole raw diet, you're rotating between sort of 4 and 5 different meats, more if possible, then they're kind of getting everything they need, you know. And if you can't, and if their poos are looking good and they're looking healthy and you can't, you know, I wouldn't be trying to force feed our dogs vegetables.
Okay, that's good. So now, listen, we're getting close to the end, but one thing you mentioned, talking about the teeth and really related to the gut. This has actually made me feel better because Henry, he's nearly 10, and he has got, the vets cannot get over how good his teeth is. And I've always put it down to that he gets a couple of times a month, he gets a bone.
Yeah.
But maybe his gut isn't as bad as I thought it was. But I know that there wasn't.
I definitely have better teeth. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
There was a question. Given the link between gut and teeth, what is the best dental regime? How do you try and avoid the vets for removing plaque and stuff? What do you recommend?
I know you know, if you're not feeding a fresh diet, then every time I say it, you're going to hate me, but feed a fresh diet. It's as simple as that. You know, dried food is high carbs. It will break down into sugars into the mouth. So you basically are, you know, they're getting, I mean, people say, you know, the companies that do the dry food will say, oh, it chips off like plaque off the teeth and things, and to a degree it will take debris off the teeth. It will, that, you know,
then there's going to be sugars created, right?
Exactly, you know. So yeah, you want bones are great, but you need to give the right bones. I think it's was it Dr. Tobias, or it was one of them, put out a post recently with a nice link on bones and which help teeth and that. I'm not sure I agreed with it though, because they said Next didn't help with teeth, and I'm like, I would be surprised if that was the case. But I mean, cleaning your dog's teeth, if your dog's all put up with it. I mean, Harry does actually let me clean his teeth. The other two wouldn't, but Harry's quite happy, and I can use an electric toothbrush with Harry. He's like, yeah. He loves the doggy toothpaste. He's like, yeah, go on. Like, if I get the doggy toothpaste, do it. Because he's got bad teeth at the back. He wasn't raw fed to begin with. So be interesting to see him with the other two. But yeah, I would say, you know, clean your teeth if you can, fresh foods, you know, try not to use processed, ultra processed foods. The same with us, really. You know, if you're, yes, bones can be a good way of helping teeth being cleaned.
What do you think about, I've put supplements into mine that include like parsley, kelp,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
those
they're
sorts of
great.
things.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, seaweed's brilliant. Seaweed is definitely a good, and it depends on what level you're at. Again, if you just get, because you can get all these plaque offs, can't you, that are like seaweed based. Again, Connor does do one that apparently is very, very good. And yeah, I mean, they will work to keep stuff down, but if you've already got a dog with really bad teeth, then, you know, it's not gonna.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give my dogs a lot of seaweed. I love a bit of seaweed. It's very good for us as well. Seaweed.
Okay. Well, that was a lot we crammed into that hour. But if anyone, so tell us if anyone is interested in finding out, I mean, I'll add it to the notes, but if anyone wants to find out more about what you do or about your wellness circle, which I've only just joined, but I'm finding there's a lot in there. So I think you could definitely tie yourself up for a couple of months digging into that.
We're adding to it all the time because it isn't just me, it is other professionals. So all the time other professionals are like, well, you're going to do some stuff for me in there as well. So,
I am.
and
But how can they find you? Where are you? What
so,
are you on?
if you look up the Dog Witch, so www.thedogwitchwholehealthandbehavior.com. That was a really badly chosen domain name. I didn't get it because I'm really stupid. But yeah, if you think whole health and behavior, so the Dog Witch, if you look up the Dog Witch, I think there's only two really that are similar. There is another lady that's not far from here, actually. If you go to me, mine's with a dog with.
It's a beautiful Podenco with beautiful colors. I mean, I love your graphics and your logo. And yeah,
Looks like my Matilda. My logo looks like Matilda. So yeah, and then if you go onto the Canine Wellness circle, there's on my website, there's join the Canine Wellness Circle, and the code at the moment is in capitals the circle. So if you write,
and yeah, it gives you a month free, doesn't it?
Free, yeah.
So you can get a month free. What about pizzles for teeth?
Yeah, stuff like that. It's great. Like natural chews are brilliant.
What do you think of ostrich? I find the ostrich.
I've never actually tried ostrich.
They break up like a dental floss. So
okay.
I carry those in the store, but I just wondered if you had any opinion on them. But I found that they are pretty good.
Anything, ostrich, whatever. Yeah, I've never come across them. But yeah, I mean, any of those chews, you know, stuff that natural chews that get them using their jaws and their teeth is so good. You know, it's as simple as that, really. I mean, freshly fed dogs will have better teeth. That's not to say they'll have perfect teeth. You know, we should brush them as well, really, if we want them to have great teeth. I can't imagine wolves go around with pearly white teeth their whole lives. You know, I can imagine there's probably issues.
Well, someone here does, and he's a bit tubby, but he's got pretty good teeth.
It's genetics.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all of this. I will post on social media once the recording is loaded, along with any of the things we spoke about. So when I go back and review this, if I come across anything, I will reach out to you, Rebecca, and get the information. And if anyone is interested in finding out more about the way I work with dogs, I'm at Happy Henry's Grooming and Training is the Instagram and Facebook ID. I think it's the same for YouTube as well. And my website is happy-henrys.co.uk. and I have a new mini course out, my first one that I've ventured into, that covers all the games that I use to help dogs get comfortable, or I use them in the salon, but they can be used out and about to help dogs build confidence and optimism as well.
And you're going to be coming to my conference next year, so we'll have to.
I am very excited. I will be going down to Devon. But honestly, if anyone has any questions or anything, and on the gut, on not just the gut, on anything, I think that
Oh yeah, I mean, we talk about everything on the site. It's
so
holistic care. It's whole health. We
check
have
it out. Check out our website. Drop her a line. She doesn't bite, as she said. And if you have any questions about grooming or anything, feel free to drop me a note. And thank you so much for joining us live and the questions. The questions were amazing.
Yeah,
And
they were great questions.
I think
Yeah.
there's some great questions. So thank you very much, everyone. And I will talk to you soon, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.